Deep in the Kuiper Belt, where distant stars provided the only illumination, the Earth vessel Artemis drifted silently among the icy debris. Commander Elena Santos stood at her observation post, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the latest data from their quantum sensors. For 15 years, humanity had maintained this vigil, watching and waiting as the galaxy's greatest threat drew ever closer to their solar system. New readings from the Proxima Centauri corridor, Commander Lieutenant Sarah Chen reported, her fingers dancing across the neural interface. The Vraxian fleet's quantum wake signatures match our previous observations. They're maintaining their standard conquest pattern. Elena nodded, her expression grim. The Vraxians had already consumed 12 civilizations in this sector alone, their method always the same: arrive without warning, demonstrate overwhelming force, and offer a simple choice: submission or extinction. But humanity had refused to be caught unprepared. Update from Titan Base. Communications Officer Marcus Rodriguez announced, Project Prometheus is ready for deployment. Admiral Harrison requests your presence at the final briefing. The commander allowed herself a small smile. For 2 decades, Earth had maintained a careful facade of technological mediocrity. While their public space program focused on basic colonization efforts within the solar system, deep beneath Titan's icy surface, humanity had been preparing something unprecedented. Helm, set course for Titan. Quantum drive engaged at your discretion, Elena ordered. The Artemis moved with impossible grace for a vessel of its size, its revolutionary quantum displacement drive leaving no traceable signature in spacetime. This was just one of countless innovations humanity had developed in secret, knowing this day would come. As they approached Titan, Elena reviewed the classified files one final time. The Vraxians believed themselves invincible, having never encountered serious resistance in over a millennium of conquest. Their technology was impressive. Antimatter weapons, quantum shields, and faster-than-light drives that had allowed them to build an empire spanning thousands of light years. But they had grown complacent, relying on the same tactics and technologies that had served them for centuries. Humanity had taken a different approach. Rather than focusing on matching Vraxian technology, Earth's scientists had pursued entirely new paths: quantum entanglement communications that couldn't be intercepted, probability drives that allowed ships to exist in multiple states simultaneously, adaptive armor that learned from every attack it encountered. The Artemis docked at Titan Base, the massive underground facility revealing itself as kilometers of ice parted with precision. Elena made her way to the command center, where Admiral Harrison waited with the other fleet commanders. The room fell silent as she entered. Commander Santos. Harrison greeted her, his weathered face serious. Your latest intelligence confirms what we've suspected. The Vraxians will reach our system within the month. Are your people ready? Elena thought of her crew, of the thousands of hours they'd spent preparing for this moment. We are, Admiral. The question is humanity ready for what comes next? Harrison activated the central hologram, revealing Earth's hidden fleet. Hundreds of ships, each representing a different approach to warfare than anything the galaxy had seen before. At their heart was the Prometheus, humanity's masterpiece of engineering and scientific advancement. The Vraxians expect to find a primitive species barely capable of reaching their own moon, Harrison explained. Their scans will show exactly that. A handful of basic satellites, some small colonies on Mars and the Moon. Everything else is hidden in quantum shadows, waiting. Elena studied the battle plans they'd spent years perfecting. The Vraxians' weaknesses were few, but they existed. Their rigid hierarchy, their reliance on standardized tactics, their assumption of superiority. All would be turned against them. We're not just fighting for Earth, Elena reminded them. We're fighting for every species they've enslaved or destroyed. We're fighting to show the galaxy that technological superiority isn't everything. Innovation, adaptation, and the human spirit count for far more. The briefing continued deep into Titan's night as humanity's defenders finalized their preparations. They knew the cost of failure. They'd seen it in the ruins of too many civilizations. But they also knew something the Vraxians didn't. Humanity had never lost a fight for survival. As Elena returned to the Artemis, she paused to watch Earth's secret fleet conducting their final drills. Each ship represented thousands of hours of human ingenuity and determination. The Vraxians were coming, expecting to find easy prey. Instead, they would learn why humanity had chosen to hide its true strength, not out of fear, but because they understood that sometimes the most powerful weapon was the element of surprise. The galaxy was about to change forever, and humanity would be the ones to change it. The day the Vraxian fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system, humanity put on its greatest performance. On Earth's surface, millions went about their daily lives, seemingly oblivious to the massive ships now visible in their telescopes. The handful of defensive satellites in orbit maintained their predictable patterns, their primitive weapon systems clearly visible to Vraxian scanners. Admiral Harrison watched the deception unfold from his hidden command center beneath Titan's surface. "Status of the quantum field?" he asked, his voice steady despite the tension filling the room. "Operating at full capacity," Dr. Maya Patel responded, her fingers moving across multiple holographic displays. "Our entire defense network remains completely cloaked. The Vraxians are seeing exactly what we want them to see." On the main screen, the Vraxian fleet moved with mathematical precision, their massive ships arranging themselves in their standard conquest formation. 3,000 vessels, each bristling with weaponry that could reduce a planet's surface to slag. They were led by the Infinite Dominion, a vessel the size of a small moon. "They're broadcasting," Communications Chief Rodriguez announced. "System-wide transmission, as expected." The voice that filled the command center was deep and resonant, translated perfectly by AI systems that had studied Vraxian communications for years. "Primitive species of soul, I am High Commander Zexthor of the Eternal Vraxian Empire. Your civilization has been deemed inadequate for independent existence. Submit to imperial rule or face immediate extinction. You have one planetary rotation to comply." Harrison allowed himself a small smile. "Right on schedule. Commander Santos, is the Artemis in position?" "Yes, Admiral." Elena's voice came through the quantum comm. "We're maintaining position in the Kuiper Belt. They haven't detected us. The rest of the fleet is ready on your command." The next 12 hours unfolded exactly as humanity had planned. Earth's governments responded with confusion and fear, sending disorganized messages requesting clarification, more time, mercy. The Vraxian fleet tightened their formation, preparing for their standard orbital bombardment sequence. "They're deploying their first wave of destroyers," Maya reported, "moving into low Earth orbit, just as predicted." Harrison nodded. "Begin Phase 2. Let's show them our first surprise." Earth's seemingly primitive satellites suddenly came alive, but not with the weak weapons the Vraxians had detected. Instead, they released clouds of quantum-entangled particles, specially designed to interfere with Vraxian shield harmonics. It was a subtle attack, one that would take time to notice. "Vraxian command ship is responding," Rodriguez reported. "They're laughing, sir. They think our satellites are malfunctioning." "Perfect," Harrison said. "Commander Santos, prepare for Phase 3. Dr. Patel, status of their shield degradation." 15% and climbing, Maya responded. "They still haven't noticed. Their arrogance is working against them exactly as we hoped." The hours ticked by, and the Vraxian fleet continued its methodical preparation for planetary bombardment. Their scans showed exactly what they expected: a frightened civilization scrambling to mount a futile defense. They didn't notice the quantum field fluctuations growing stronger, or the subtle changes in their shield harmonics. "Shield degradation at 40%, Maya announced. "They're starting to notice something's wrong, but they can't identify the source." Harrison straightened in his chair. "Time to show them why you should never underestimate humanity. All ships, this is Admiral Harrison. Execute Phase 3. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden fleet began to move. The Artemis led the charge from the Kuiper Belt, while other vessels emerged from quantum shadows around every planet and major moon. The Prometheus, humanity's masterpiece, rose from its hiding place beneath Titan's surface. The Vraxian response was immediate but confused. Their sensors, already compromised by the quantum particle attack, showed impossible readings, ships appearing and disappearing, energy signatures that defied their understanding of physics. High Commander Zexthor is demanding to know what's happening, Rodriguez reported, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. Send them our response, Harrison ordered. The one we prepared. The message was simple, broadcast in perfect Vraxian. You assumed we were primitive because that's what we wanted you to see. You thought we were prey because you forgot how to recognize predators. The galaxy is about to remember why assumptions can be deadly. The Prometheus opened fire first, its probability cannons turning 3 Vraxian destroyers into quantum uncertainty before their shields could respond. The rest of humanity's fleet followed, each ship employing weapons and tactics the Vraxians had never encountered. Multiple Vraxian ships reporting critical shield failures, Maya called out. Their entire command and control network is destabilizing. Harrison watched as the greatest invasion fleet the sector had seen in centuries began to fall into chaos. Send word to the rest of the fleet, he ordered. Phase 4 begins now. Show them exactly what humanity can do when we've had time to prepare. The battle for Earth was about to begin in earnest, and the galaxy would never be the same. The void between Earth and Mars erupted with light as humanity's hidden fleet engaged the Vraxian armada. The Prometheus led the charge, its quantum probability drives allowing it to exist in multiple positions simultaneously, making it virtually impossible for Vraxian targeting systems to lock on. Commander Elena Santos watched from the Artemis as the battle unfolded. Target their command and control nodes, she ordered. Don't let them reorganize their formation. The Vraxian fleet's elegant geometric patterns had dissolved into chaos. Their ships, accustomed to fighting in perfect synchronization, now fired wildly at targets that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Human vessels phased in and out of normal space, their adaptive armor learning and evolving with each hit they took. High Commander Zexthor is attempting to rally his forces, Lieutenant Chen reported from her tactical station. They're trying to form a defensive sphere around the infinite dominion. Belina allowed herself a grim smile. Just as predicted. Admiral Harrison, we're ready for Phase 4 Beta. From his command center on Titan, Harrison gave the order. Release the quantum swarms. Thousands of small autonomous drones emerged from hidden positions throughout the solar system. Each one carried a miniaturized version of the quantum entanglement technology that had been degrading Vraxian shields. But now, instead of a subtle attack, they struck with full force. Aboard the Infinite Dominion, High Commander Zexthor watched in growing horror as his fleet's supposedly impenetrable defenses crumbled. Impossible, he snarled, his metallic voice echoing across his bridge. They are savages, primitives. How can they? His words were cut short as the Prometheus materialized directly in front of his flagship. The human vessel was tiny in comparison, but it glowed with energies his sensors couldn't comprehend. Message from Admiral Harrison, his communications officer reported, mandibles clicking nervously. You thought size meant power. Harrison's voice filled the Vraxian bridge. You thought age meant wisdom. Today, you learned that innovation beats stagnation, that adaptation overcomes tradition. The battle continued to unfold across the solar system. Human ships employed tactics that had never been seen in galactic warfare. The Artemis led a squadron that used quantum entanglement to coordinate their attacks across vast distances, striking simultaneously from multiple vectors. Vraxian casualties mounting, Dr. Paddle reported from Titan. Their fleet cohesion is completely broken. They're starting to retreat. But humanity wasn't finished. As Vraxian ships attempted to flee, they discovered another surprise. The quantum particle cloud had done more than degrade their shields. It had infected their FTL drives with a virus that forced them to drop out of faster-than-light travel almost immediately. Their entire command structure is collapsing, Rodriguez announced. We're picking up distress calls. They're begging for mercy. Admiral Harrison stood from his command chair. All ships, this is Harrison. Begin Phase 5. Show them what human mercy looks like. The human fleet's attack suddenly changed. Instead of destroying Vraxian vessels, they began capturing them. Quantum tethers locked ships in place while specialized boarding teams used phase technology to bypass internal defenses. On the Artemis, Elena watched as the mighty Vraxian armada was systematically dismantled. Send word to the rest of the galaxy, she ordered. Let everyone see what happens when you underestimate humanity. The battle ended not with the extinction of an enemy, but with a demonstration of power that would reshape galactic politics forever. The infinite dominion, pride of the Vraxian fleet, was captured intact. High Commander Zexthor found himself facing Admiral Harrison in person. You could have destroyed us, Zexthor said, his proud voice now subdued. We could have, Harrison agreed. But humanity didn't hide its strength out of fear. We hid it because we understood something you forgot long ago. True power isn't about destruction. It's about knowing when not to use it. As the solar system slowly returned to normal, the quantum particle cloud dissipated, revealing Earth's true face to the galaxy. The message was clear. Humanity had emerged onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors, but as liberators. The age of Vraxian dominance was over. And across the galaxy, subjugated species began to hope. Word of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy like a quantum shockwave. On thousands of worlds under Vraxian control, subjugated species watched in awe as recordings of the battle circulated through hidden networks. The impossible had happened. The invincible empire had been defeated by a species they had dismissed as primitive. Dr. Maya Patel stood before the newly formed Galactic Coalition Council, her hologram projected simultaneously to representatives from over 300 formerly enslaved species. We share our technology not to dominate, but to preserve freedom, she explained. The quantum defense systems we developed can be adapted to protect any world from future aggression. The council chamber, hastily established in neutral space, buzzed with excitement and hope. Among the delegates was Kithrix, a crystalline being from the Andromeda arm. But how did you know? They chimed, their crystalline form resonating with curiosity. How did humanity prepare so perfectly? Admiral Harrison, standing beside Maya's hologram, stepped forward. We learned from history, he said. Every fallen civilization left clues. While the Vraxians saw only ruins to plunder, we saw lessons to learn. The revolution spread faster than anyone had anticipated. Armed with human quantum technology and inspired by Earth's example, subjugated worlds began to rise up. The Vraxian Empire, already reeling from their devastating defeat at Earth, found themselves fighting brushfire wars across their territory. Aboard the Artemis, Commander Elena Santos monitored the liberation of Proxima Centauri's colonies. Another Vraxian garrison has surrendered, Lieutenant Chen reported. They're requesting asylum. Elena nodded. This too had been predicted. Many Vraxian soldiers, seeing their empire crumbling, were choosing to defect rather than fight for a dying cause. Offer them the same terms as the others, she ordered. If they're willing to learn a new way, we're willing to teach. Back on Earth, humanity grappled with its new role in the galaxy. The United Earth Council debated endlessly about the responsibilities that came with their sudden emergence as a major power. But the decision had already been made in the heat of battle. Earth would not become another empire. The Quantum Defense Network is now operational in the Orion sector, Maya reported to Admiral Harrison. They stood in the expanded Titan base, watching as green lights appeared on a galactic map, indicating liberated worlds. 17 more systems have successfully adapted our technology. Harrison studied the map thoughtfully. And the Vraxian response. Their remaining fleet elements are retreating to their core worlds, Maya replied. Our intelligence suggests their leadership is fracturing. Some want to continue fighting, others are calling for reform. The revolution took on a life of its own. Species that had been enemies under Vraxian rule found common cause in their newfound freedom. Trade routes, long controlled by imperial governors, bloomed with free commerce. Cultural exchange, previously suppressed, flourished across the stars. The Prometheus, now serving as a mobile academy, traveled from system to system, teaching former slave races how to operate and maintain their new defensive technologies. Its crew included both humans and reformed Vraxians, working together to build something new from the ashes of empire. "We're receiving new signals," Communications Chief Rodriguez announced during a routine briefing. "From beyond the galactic rim. It seems news of the revolution has spread even further than we thought." Elena reviewed the transmissions with growing amazement. Other species, having hidden themselves from Vraxian expansion, just as humanity had, were now reaching out. Earth was becoming a beacon of hope, proving that technological superiority wasn't the only path to power. "The galaxy is changing faster than anyone predicted," Harrison observed, watching the latest reports from the coalition. "But change isn't always peaceful. We need to be ready for the challenges ahead." He was right. Already, there were signs of new threats emerging. Other empires, watching the Vraxian collapse, were beginning to move into the power vacuum. But this time, they would find not isolated worlds ripe for conquest, but a network of free systems, armed with humanity's innovations and united in their determination to remain free. The revolution wasn't just about overthrowing an empire. It was about fundamentally changing how civilizations interacted with each other. Humanity had shown the galaxy a different path, one where deception could serve justice, where preparation overcame arrogance, and where freedom was worth any price. And this was only the beginning. 1 year after humanity's emergence, the galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. The former Vraxian capital world of Nexus Prime hosted the first Galactic Concordat, a gathering of free worlds unprecedented in scale. The Prometheus hung in orbit alongside ships from 1,000 different species, its quantum shields now serving as a symbol of protection rather than war. Admiral Harrison stood before the assembled delegates, his weathered face reflecting the gravity of the moment. "We gather here not to create another empire," he began, "but to ensure no empire ever rises again." The Great Hall fell silent as he continued. "Humanity emerged from hiding not to conquer, but to free. Not to rule, but to protect. Today, we formalize that promise." Dr. Maya Patel stepped forward, activating a holographic display that filled the chamber. "The quantum defense network is now complete," she announced. "Every member world has the capability to resist any attempt at conquest. But technology alone isn't enough. We must ensure that knowledge and innovation never again become tools of oppression." Commander Elena Santos, watching from the Artemis, felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The ship that had once hidden in the Kuiper Belt now led diplomatic missions, carrying teachers and scientists instead of weapons. Their latest mission had been to help former Vraxian colonies transition to self-governance. "New contact, Commander," Lieutenant Chen reported, her voice carrying a note of excitement. "Deep space signals from the galactic core. It appears to be another hidden civilization." Elena smiled. Every week brought new discoveries as species that had concealed themselves from the Vraxians began to emerge. Each brought unique perspectives and technologies, contributing to a growing renaissance of galactic culture. On Earth, the United Earth Council had transformed into the hub of galactic innovation. The same facilities that had secretly developed quantum weapons now hosted scientists from across the galaxy, all working together to solve common challenges. "The last Vraxian holdout has surrendered," Rodriguez announced during the council session. "Their new government is requesting membership in the Concordat." Admiral Harrison nodded, unsurprised. The Vraxians themselves had undergone a profound transformation. Without their empire's rigid hierarchy, many had discovered a passion for art, science, and peaceful cooperation. Their advanced manufacturing capabilities, once used for weapons, now produced medical supplies and exploration vessels. "We're detecting unusual activity in the Sagittarius arm," Maya reported, studying new data streams. "It appears to be a celebration. The former slave worlds are commemorating the anniversary of their liberation." The celebration spread across the galaxy, each world adding its own cultural elements. On some planets, they launched quantum fireworks that danced between dimensions. On others, they held solemn ceremonies remembering those lost to imperial rule. But everywhere, they celebrated the new era of freedom and cooperation. The Prometheus, now commanded by a joint human-alien crew, prepared for its most ambitious mission yet, an expedition beyond the galaxy's edge. Other civilizations might exist out there, hiding just as humanity once had. The ship that had helped win their freedom would now extend a hand of friendship to others. "There will always be challenges," Harrison told the Concord Assembly. "There will always be those who seek power over others. But we've proven that preparation beats aggression, that innovation overcomes stagnation, and that freedom, once tasted, creates bonds stronger than any empire." Commander Santos stood on the Artemis observation deck, watching ships from 100 worlds moving in harmony through space. A quantum alert chimed. Another hidden civilization had made contact, another people choosing to emerge into the light of cooperation rather than remain in the shadows of fear. "Send them our standard greeting," she ordered, then added with a smile, "and let them know they're just in time. The galaxy is about to become even more interesting." The age of empires was over. The age of exploration, innovation, and cooperation had begun. Humanity had changed the galaxy not through overwhelming force, but through careful planning, technological innovation, and a fundamental understanding that true strength lies not in domination, but in unity. As the quantum networks hummed with activity, as free trade routes connected formerly isolated worlds, as cultural exchanges sparked new ideas and possibilities, one truth became clear: the galaxy's best days were still ahead. And humanity, the species that had hidden in plain sight only to emerge as a catalyst for universal freedom, would help lead the way into that brighter future, not as conquerors or rulers, but as partners in the greatest adventure in galactic history. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter in this new era of peace and possibility. The long night of empire had ended. The dawn of cooperation had begun.